it's Romy, Sagittarius. Thank you so much for tuning in to my channel. This is your November soul story. If you have a sun rising or moon Sagittarius, then this is a general reading, but the guidance might resonate for you. So let's go ahead, check out and see what's coming up for you. Okay, Sagittarius, so November's soul story. I want you to think about this month as a time when clarity comes. It's the feeling of a slow burn that's really building to a beautiful, bright flame as we approach your solar returns. So many of the personal planets that have been backspinning through the majority of this year are now moving direct. Mercury on the 3rd of the month, Mars on the 14th, followed by Neptune on the 28th. And what this means is that there is this sense of restrictions being lifted and starting to feel like you can get back into some kind of rhythm and flow. We open up your reading with a card of the Empress, and I love the feeling of wholeness and completion. And I do think that at this point, when we move through Scorpio season and we're working particularly for you, those of you who are Sagittarius rising, into your 12th house of closure, completion, endings in that 12th house, is a very healing, very cathartic time. One of the things I feel like you're going to be considering as you move through this month, okay, is that the growth that you've been through, you know, it hasn't always been about delivering the expansion and the kind of sweet rewards. It's about the way in which you've had to deal with loss, with the unexpected, with things being moved or taken out of your life to create space for what comes next. And the relationship that you've formed and that has changed between you and you is really going to be highlighted in November as you start to see some of the plans now coming to a point where they make more sense to you. Yeah, the Empress is about creativity. She's about bringing this sense of a generative quality to everything that you turn your mind and attention to. Nobody's entitled to your energy at the moment, Sagittarius, and I think you're going to be really aware of this as you move through November. There is going to be quite an interesting reflection on you learning how to do things better communicate, better assert boundaries, better in terms of praising yourself, better at being able to hold a vibration of gratitude, and to really give yourself the time and space that you need to put some much needed focus on where you want to start finding that forward motion again. Yeah, so I love that the Empress is coming in, just opening up your world in a really beautiful way, but also giving you a sense of empowerment, which is going to be important because I think there's going to be major news that is delivered this month. You know, we're going to be approaching a lunar eclipse. Now remember, we're working with the Gemini Sagittarius axis. Gemini eclipse in your 7th house of relationship. So be aware that this rebalancing of the energy in really important relationships in your life is going to be mirrored. And you may have already started to feel into that through October. You know, these eclipse season kind of works 6 to 8 weeks in advance, but certainly as we approach the end of the month and all the energy is starting to move more quickly, you could see some very sudden shifts and changes. And I think that you've probably already done some deep work in and around your whole relationship attachment style, the healing, the necessary work that has been highlighted to you. And really, I think coming to this understanding that no one person is going to be able to meet all of your needs, Sagittarius. And actually right now, at this moment in time, nor do you need them to, because that Empress energy suggests to me that you're feeling much more self-assured and at ease in your own sovereign power than you have felt for a long time as we move through November, and especially as we come up to that beautiful time on the 21st when the sun enters your sign. Now, we also are welcoming the 3rd of the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction on the 12th of the month. So think back to June 30th to April 5th, because this is the final chapter in that story. And you want to see how it's helped impact your realization of your own power and influence and the deep transformation and expansion that wants to take place. 6 of Swords, you've had a rite of passage. And what it's been about is trying to find a better sense of balance and justice in your own world on the internal landscape, and also so that you can start to make the right decisions for you in the people in your life, in the way that you're orientating your attention moving forward into next year. So there will be a powerful sense of something coming to culmination, to point of fruition in and around that time. And of course, we're just ahead of the new moon in Scorpio as well on the 15th, which is allowing a fresh new chapter to commence. So I feel that you are moving through quite a deep psychological kind of reflection, but at the same time preparing, readying yourself and starting to take some very, very important decisions, knowing what you now know, with a sense of feeling a little bit lighter than you have for some time, okay? Now that Six of Swords does suggest that there is a quality of distance that you're putting between yourself and someone or something, okay? And perhaps that's because you know what it is that you need to balance your energy out. I think you've learned the hard way. And so now there's this understanding of what it takes to remain in that beautiful place of neutrality, where you can more easily draw towards you the abundance, the inspiration, the energy, and the vision to really apply to important things in your life. Now, November is going to be a fantastic time once Mars moves direct, once Mercury is direct, to really start to look at launching. So if any of you are focused in and around changes that are happening in your career, your work, if you want to kind of instigate something new, you know, this is a great time where the astrological influences are much more supportive than they've been at many points through this year. Just remember, with a couple of oppositions to Uranus coming in, I feel like there could be some very unexpected twists and turns, and also ahead of that eclipse in Gemini, realize that you may well be balancing out two different paths, two different options, okay? I think you are in this point of trying to be more resourceful, kind of looking at what you have, where you need to get to. There may well be a bit of a stretch, okay? If you're coming up against some sense of feeling like something's just out of reach or you're not quite there, I want you to get really, really focused in your mindset, not focusing at all upon the limitation, the resistance, the restriction, but rather on the inevitability and what it is that your heart desires, and really calling in the support of those energetic influences of source energy in the universe to actually help you bridge that gap, okay? Help you to bridge that gap. Now, where you are weighing up something, I feel it is because you're ready to take a leap, to put yourself front and center stage with regards to something that may mean in terms of an important conversation or something that you want to articulate, express to somebody important in your life. It may also be something that you want to achieve for yourself, goals or new commitments that are surfacing, that you're feeling much more fired up than you have for some time to actually get going and get moving on. One of the questions that comes up as I'm just feeling into that aspect of energy, Sagittarius, is this sense of who is it that you're trying to convince and why? And I think that's going to be an important question. If you are really aligned with it within yourself, that's fantastic. If you know that this is the right move, this is the right decision for your growth, for your highest good, then all is well. But if you find that you're trying to convince, get somebody on board, if you're trying to move energy that feels stagnant or stuck or blocked, particularly in and around relationships, as that's what we're going to be looking at with that heavy focus of the Gemini eclipse for you, we are being invited to just reflect a little bit more, because remember, this time around, particularly through November, as clarity comes and we move from this slow burn to this bright, bright flame, and I love that the flame is shown here just in the image here, we're learning to do it better. So if you're doing something better, and if you've come to this point of knowing where you keep tripping yourself up or where you keep going back into a repeated pattern, then this is the time to kind of be liberated and free from that. You know, you're set to receive a successful outcome with this regardless, okay? But it's important that we don't come from an ego-based perspective, and that we're really wanting to maintain that sense of balance and equilibrium, so that what is mirrored back to us is actually what we want to receive and what we want to see, okay? Something about the spotlight being shone very much in your direction, I think, particularly as we come toward the end of the month into your solar returns. So this is a fantastic time if you are wanting to be recognized, if you are wanting people to listen to what you have to say, or to put a focus on something that you are doing, a cause that you're involved in. I'm feeling great energies in and around this, okay? You might have a couple of different approaches to make this work. You might have to try more than once. The other thing we need to remember is we're still in shadow period with these planets that have moved direct, Mercury, Mars, and Neptune. And so sometimes, particularly when they're stationing direct, things can get a little bit bumpy and chaotic. And then even in the shadow, you know, we're still kind of dealing with some of the legacy energies that want to be worked with and acknowledged. So you might have to try more than once. This is about not giving up, because you're very clear about what it is that you're focused upon. But there's something about your time being now, Sagittarius. I feel like if you've put something on hold for a long time, or certainly this year hasn't afforded you the opportunity to consider going after something, then November's set to give you that green light to say, you know what, actually this is possible. Not only is this possible, but actually the insight that you have within yourself, but also in terms of the influences that are happening around you, are also giving you a little bit more of a wise counsel and a knowing at just the right moment that you need to strike, to move, to assert, to communicate. Now, as we move through Scorpio season, the element of water wants us to keep us in flow. The High Priestess comes through because she is, you know, coming up with that deep sense of intuitive knowing, that psychic awareness that Scorpio likes to work with. Scorpio energy, remember, is indirect. And so where we do have that Six of Wands that wants you to step, you know, up front and center stage, or kind of have that meaningful moment, which I do believe will come for you in November, Sagittarius, you also just have to be aware that you're not going too much against what the natural energy is wanting to help support you with. Yeah. So remember, in 12th house energy through Scorpio season, there might be a need to just hold back because there's some sense of healing or closure or wrapping something up, allowing something to come to a point of an end, and, you know, trying to sort of skip that step or move too quickly. I think High Priestess wants to come in as your guide and just kind of temper that energy and just make sure that you are really, really clear about the exact right moment. And I think you will be guided powerfully with that. We've got very strong divine feminine energies coming in with both the Empress and High Priestess to support you, which suggests that you can use that softer way of explaining, of articulating, of expressing your energy and still get what you want without being forceful or demanding, okay? There's a softness to it, there's an integrity to it, and this is all about how you maintain your balance throughout this, okay? There's a sense of a karmic clear-up happening very powerfully. You've probably seen it playing out quite strongly, even in and around your own social circle and the people that you know in your life, and you may already start to be profoundly aware of where there's been changes in your own journey at the moment. Certainly that Six of Swords shows me the way that you have travelled has been with a deep sense of understanding that even though it wasn't necessarily the easiest path, it was one that you had to make and to take so that you could really bring that knowledge with you to this exact moment, which is going to help you to make a decision that I think is critical to how the next 6 to 9 months play out for you. So don't underestimate the power and the influence that you have through this month and the changes that you're making with that Empress energy coming in, okay? We have the card of the Sun here. Could well be a Leo energy that you are dealing with, but for me this is also just tapping into that beautiful sense of creativity being unleashed within you as well. And let's face it, you know, with Mars having been retrograde for the last few weeks, you may have felt that hit on your creativity or your mojo a little bit. So, you know, as that awakens and so many of these planets are starting to move direct, there is this sense of more of a vibrancy a positivity, yes, although I think you're still deeply aware of the challenges that abound, and that's okay. And it's all right if you're still looking at pockets of your life or the collective where you're still seeing a lot of heavy, resistant or dark energy. That's okay too. It doesn't mean that we can't still find reason to celebrate, and we can't still tap in to that solar charge, which is what you need to be able to help you figure something out, okay? Major news I do feel coming in, and I think, you know, the weight of possibility is sort of, it's not a burden, but there's something kind of interesting about you holding it and feeling the seriousness of some kind of decision that you have to make, perhaps because of the wider impact that it's going to have on others. Okay, there is a strong sense of fertility coming into this reading, and also connection into children. So for some of you, this may well be decisions that are happening in and around that aspect of your life. And if it's not directly connected to children, it could well be towards your inner child, or just the readiness and preparing of releasing some kind of new creative project, or giving birth to something figuratively that is now ready and almost urgently wanting your time, focus and energy. But remember, like we said, there's a strong focus in and around relationships. Now that we're into this final part of the eclipse season of 2020, we are going to be working our way to your eclipse in December. And so again, you're going to start to feel that coming up really strongly, Sagittarius. We have the card of the World coming in. Very strong major arcana influences coming up in November for you, which doesn't surprise me at all, because I think the hand of fate is very, very much in the driver's seat between now and the summer for you. So a lot of the things that are going to be happening for you and to you, shifting the ground beneath your feet a little bit, are about wrapping things up and bringing them to a point of fruition, so that you are not only ready and prepared, but feeling a sense of excitement and almost even adventure about some of the things that can start to take the place of what has left your life, you know. And I guess that can bring conflict, understandably. But what I'm seeing with that World card is there's a sense of accomplishment that you're feeling. I think there's something you're going to be celebrating within yourself. It may feel like a very quiet celebration, something that you're not yet ready to share with others. And for some of you, you might want to be loud and proud and really stepping out and demonstrating that, you know, you've had the courage of your conviction to make really important decisions, you know. I think for some of you in those relationships, it is the opportunity to get far more balance coming in, and to start to have really important discussions about the things that have to change, and having a willingness on both sides to make that happen. It's almost like a decree of sort of, you know, a new level of commitment that I see being a possibility. And if you're coming to that real understanding that it's just not something that you can sign up to, then I think you will start to make the motion of moving away, or just giving yourself some time out, certainly, to see what might need to change in order for you to be able to do that, or to come to a bigger decision that I think through the month of December could be very significant in terms of what comes next in that particular relationship. Remember, this can come through in you know, personal or professional relationships, you know, the person that you have most focus and attention on just now with that Lovers card coming in is about who you want to devote your time and energy to. Yeah, but remember, back to that question, who are you trying to convince and why? The card of the Lovers is connected to Gemini, and again, I just want to draw it toward that lunar eclipse that's going to be coming in on the 30th of the month. If we are learning to do something better, Sagittarius, what does that mean for you? How would that fall out in terms of new promises that you want to keep for yourself, so that you can keep that sense of harmony within you and in your life? And how does it impact on the way that you want to communicate with that person? I also think that partnerships are very strongly highlighted for you in November. Collaborations may be on the table. Possibilities to work with somebody for mutual advantage are definitely showing up and should be considered wisely. But there is also a sense of you not wanting to take on too much, remember. You don't want to burn out, okay? We have this readiness of the energy to want to support you. And it may just feel that all of a sudden, because you get a real hit or a bounce of energy, that you just kind of want to get everything done and get moving really fast. So just try to find a little bit of temperance in that, so that you don't give away everything all at once. Maybe don't give all your ideas, maybe don't give all of your energy. You know, this is about you starting to feel a sense of lightness, but also conserving. You know, make sure that you're not burning yourself down to zero. Keep yourself like 20-30% in the tank, Sagittarius. You know, that's going to be important in all areas, okay, to give you a sustained level of success, a sustained level of growth, a sustained level of good energy that's flowing towards you. The Empress knows how to work with the nutrient-rich energies that surround her to help things to grow. She understands that element of the cycles that have to come in order to support things. So your oracle card to support your reading for November is Lake, and the word is depth here. So we have this woman who's kind of submerged under an absolutely crystal clear water. So the first thing I want to say about this is that actually this idea of clarity coming is really important. There's no fog or haze or kind of churn in the water here. There's a submergence, and there's a kind of being able to go inwards. And of course with Scorpio season, particularly with that water energy, you are tapping into your emotions. With this castle here, I think that you are looking at, you know, the important things in your life, you know, where you feel like home, what feels important in terms of what you're trying to build, what you're trying to create. And I think there is a surrendering into something that's going to be very important, okay? I think this is also about you just needing some quiet space, some time out, and almost wanting to be hidden at certain points through this month, which is kind of in contrast to that Six of Wands. But this is why I'm just giving you a little bit of a heads up, because one minute you might want to be, you know, front and center and kind of having that public recognition, or, you know, really having the sociability and the kind of all eyes on you. And the next minute there's just this need to really retreat and just make sure that you feel that you're recharging your own energy, okay? But allow this quietness, because there's an incredibly peaceful energy that I pick up with this card. The depth is about your depth of feeling, and I think that might come up very strongly in connection to someone or something. You might realize with a bolt out of the blue, even with those eclipses coming in, just how you feel about someone or something, or even have that revelation coming to you. And that might be a complete game changer for some of you, okay? We also have a number 3 coming in there with 31, again linking into the 3 of the Empress, so just reminding us of that creativity, that sense of fertility and new things that want to be built upon, and really kind of new powerful energetic foundations being put into place that I really, really like for you, okay? So let's just take a look at this moon card for you as well. It's time to release negativity, full moon in Scorpio. The power of your mind is going to be so important. And remember that Jupiter-Pluto conjunction taking place is really helping you to realize the power and influence that you've had in different situations, or perhaps where you've given it away, because that trilogy of dates, you know, and how they've kind of put this sort of full stop moment through this year of 2020 at certain times was meant to give you that pause, that reflection, and that kind of disruption energy, really, to get you thinking and kind of like force you to wake up to something, you know. Of course, Scorpionic energy ruled by Pluto wants us to go deep dive, you know. It's a powerful sense of transformation. It isn't easy. We deal with a lot of our shadow aspect, and, you know, where you have had to do that at different moments through the month of November, and as you work through that 12th house, this is a time when you're letting so much of the bullshit go. I really feel that for you. It's just time. You know, you're just ready for like a kind of a cleansing and a purging. And that's necessary so that you can feel that bright flame that we talked about, that flame from the sun, that flame that's shown here, is clean, you know. It's a fire that you can work with, that you can ignite something really special within you and hold it and keep it in a sense of an enduring flame, you know. So letting go of the negativity, when you start to see things that are coming together, when you start to see some positive accomplishments or sweet rewards coming in, you know, it's so important not to sabotage or not to think about all the reasons why it might not work. This is a time when you get to be different in your outlook and your own mind. So I hope that this has just given you a little bit of resonance, and please do revisit this reading throughout the month, Sagittarius. Certainly a lot of the feedback that I'm getting is it makes so much sense to people as they continue to tap back into the messages and see how things unfold. And you know, I really appreciate your comments and your feedback, so please do let me know. This, of course, is a general reading. If you want to come and check out the extended version with me, what we're going to do is just pull some additional cards right now that are going to clarify these messages and allow us to go into a little bit more detail. So the first thing I'm just going to ask you to do is to focus on a question that may not have come up in this main spread, and we'll pull a couple of cards for you just now, Sagittarius. Okay, let's see what comes through there. Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to now clarify this main spread for us. So just beginning with that beautiful Empress energy coming in. So important to be very mothering and nurturing towards yourself throughout this month, and clarified with this Queen of Coins, nice earthy energy, possibly Capricorn, Virgo or Taurus that you may be dealing with as well. And certainly with the Hermit coming in, more earth energy. Card of Justice bringing in Page of Coins here. I think there are offers, opportunities, invitations that are, you know, going to be littering your path in many ways. If there are more legal things that you're dealing with, connected to money and finance, of course, anything that's post, you know, particularly Mercury, direct after the 3rd is going to be a more favourable time for you to get involved in that. But you know, you have a lot of positive energies in terms of something coming to a sense of completion or fruition, or being able to get clear of something, which I really like. A little bit of moon energy coming in there. There's a very strong link to Pisces here with the High Priestess and the moon. Remember, Neptune moves direct in the sign of Pisces on the 28th, 29th of this month. Again, helping to awaken our muse a little bit more and work with our ideas, our inspiration, our artistic expression, and also our spirituality in a way that helps us to realise the art of the possible. So we've got the Two of Coins, clarifying the Two of Coins here. So yeah, definitely a choice, trying to find that sense of balance. Maybe you are juggling a little bit in and around finances or money. Like we said, if there's a bit of a stretch, just keep really focused. Don't allow your mind to go into the negative, okay? You've come too far, you've learned too much, you've already invested. Of course, it could be a Capricorn energy that we're dealing with. We've also got the Lovers coming up twice here, possibly a Gemini. Is that the case for some of you? Card of the Chariot. A lot of dualism coming up here. Like we said, this focus on relationships. Right, 10 of Swords coming in with the Sun. So maybe for some of you there is an ending of sense of completion. We'll go into that in a little bit more detail. Six of Wands again. You're getting a lot of repeated cards in this reading. It's always nice. It just strengthens what's coming through for you energetically. Six of Cups. Somebody from the past, perhaps. Again, a focusing around children as well here. Ace of Cups. Beautiful, Sagittarius. Okay, a lot of earth energies coming up as well in this reading, which does bode really well for finances and resources in terms of some of the plans we're going to be making. I'm going to leave it there. If you'd like to join me for the extended, you can find the link for that in the description and the comments section underneath. It's a way to support the work that I do, and I deeply appreciate all of you for tuning in. I wish you a really beautiful month of November, Sagittarius, and for those of you that have birthdays this month, many happy solar returns as well, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon. You take good care. Bye for now.